Hello and welcome to another edition of For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guest today is Greg Wright. He is the program manager for Treatment Foster Care Program and Children's Services. It is his first time on the show, so welcome to the show.
Hi, Sean. How are you?
Fantastic. Hope
Good.
you are too.
I am.
We're going to learn a lot today. First of all, your agency. Tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. It's Family Service of Rhode Island. It's been around for over 100 years.
Wow, and you've been there that long. That is amazing.
Yeah,
you look great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. But it's an agency that started back in before the turn of the previous century. I forget we're in a new millennium now.
It's been 14 years
yeah,
now. Come on.
I know, really. I got to catch up. But it started way back when, and it just evolved over the years as far as providing services to families, children and families, as needed. So it started as one thing, and it progressively, became a full service agency, in which we are now. We provide social services for all walks of life, from children's services, from early intervention services for children. We foster care, which we're going to talk about today, but everything you can think of. Family Service of Rhode Island does it. We are one of the larger nonprofits in the state of Rhode Island.
So as far as Rhode Island goes, which we're going to stick with, the need for foster families, how big of a need is there?
It's the word I always use is urgent.
Oh, really?
It's an urgent need.
Wow.
Yes. The thing is, Sean, we have a lot of teenagers, primarily children between the ages of 12 and 17, that are currently in residential facilities, group homes, and they really don't belong there.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they can't go back and live with their family for various reasons, and there are not enough foster homes to go around to take these children in. So they end up in these facilities, which provides them with a great level of care, but it's not a home. It's not the stability and the structure of a home that all children deserve to have.
What is the reason that there aren't enough foster families available? I'm sure it runs the gamut for reasons why. Their qualifications, maybe financial issues, and there's probably so many.
Yeah,
right?
well, you just hit on two of them. Qualified to be a foster parent, financial situations. All foster parents have to meet a financial qualification,
right.
Which basically means that you have to be able to support your household without the stipend that you're going to get for the foster,
right.
for caring for the foster
So that
child.
should be just above and beyond. You should be able to do it on your own, and then if you are, the stipend just kind of makes it even a little bit easier for you, a little bit more comfortable.
Correct, because the stipend is not, it's not a,
it's not significant.
Foster parenting is not a job.
Right.
The stipend is not meant to be, a salary or an employment situation. It's meant to cover the cost, the additional cost that you'll incur while taking care of the child.
Now, as a foster family, that's a temporary situation, right?
Well, foster care was always meant to be a temporary situation. It was meant to provide care and a home for children until they're able to be reunified with their biological families. But in some cases, it can turn into a longer-term situation, and in some cases, it can turn into adoption as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that would be sort of the ultimate goal, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would be, yes. And we're coming up on, National Adoption Month, so we're really doing a lot to tell people that foster care is a great way to adopt. It kind of leads, it's a good way to start, fostering to adopt. So we're kind of...
So we were talking about one of the reasons there might not be enough foster families, and one of the things was financial. As we are supposedly coming out of a recession now, was that point of financial turmoil or financial stress on people, was that a big factor?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
huge factor.
Is that right?
A huge factor.
Made your job more difficult, didn't it?
Yeah, it made a lot of people's jobs more difficult.
Plus the fact that you're a nonprofit, that didn't help it either.
No,
right?
it certainly didn't. But what we found was over the last few years, since the economy kind of took a dive a few years ago, in those financial stressful situations, You know, people are trying to maintain their own homes.
Right.
They're trying to feed their own families, and they're not really thinking outside of that. You know, and you know, people were trying to save their homes from foreclosure and find jobs. So that just put an additional burden on the system as a whole, because not many people were interested in being foster parents because they're trying to maintain their own family. But also it put more children into the foster care system because, you know, the stresses and so forth that are put on the families.
Sort of a domino effect.
It really,
kind of
it really was.
on itself.
Yeah, it really was.
Since we're talking finances, as a nonprofit, how are you funded?
We're funded, for instance, we have a lot of grants and so forth that we get, both federal and state, but my program is primarily funded through the state of Rhode Island.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
through the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, DCYF, but it's a state funding.
And of course, they're tightening the belt too, right?
That would be, tightening the belt, yes.
That might be a kind way of saying it.
They're out of notches, let's put it that way.
Yeah. You cannot get any skinnier.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing, when people think of foster families, whether you're on the side of being the family or being fostered, is people always ask, especially in this day and age, maybe the vetting process that someone would go through, not just financially, but just, you know, their entire background.
It is. There's no question about it that it's an intense process.
But it's necessary.
It's necessary,
Yeah.
and it can be, to some people, can seem intrusive at times. We do a complete home study on families, so we do everything. We interview the parents, and we find out all of their personal and family history from the time they're, you know, born to the present day. And what that helps us do is it helps us in several ways. It helps us determine whether or not you're a good fit for our program. It helps us match a child with your home, with your personality, your strengths, your weaknesses, your family dynamics, and it helps us. You know, so there's a lot of pieces that it helps us with.
Yeah.
So
it's like a jigsaw puzzle. You have
really
to put
is.
it all together.
It is very much like that. There's a lot of things that have to happen. We try to make the process as painless and as quick as possible because, again, we have children waiting for foster homes.
Right.
So we don't.
But you don't want to cut any corners on that.
Absolutely
at the same time.
not, and we don't. And
what is the type of what is the mindset of a person that wants to be a part of become a foster parent, foster family? What is their reasoning usually that you hear?
Usually, they say they just want to give a child a home that they all deserve.
That's kind of what you want to hear.
They love children,
right.
And they know there are these children out there that don't have a stable, structured home, and they want to be able to help, to give back. And we found a lot of foster families that come in and foster parents that come in are already in these, what we like to call helping, giving professions. So they're nurses, they're CNAs, they're teachers.
It sounds like they have the right DNA, don't they?
I mean, I have a lot of foster parents that work with, special needs children, and they become foster parents. And
right.
The question is, well, you work with these children all day, and now you're going to have them at home, and it's just, I had one foster parent say, "This is what I do. This is what makes my life.
It was what they were meant to put on this earth.
What I meant to be. Yeah. This is what I was meant to do."
You kind of want to hear that, though, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sometimes there's not a match. Sometimes it doesn't work out, right? How is that handled, dealt with?
Well, it's very, it's not a great place to be in, and there are those occasions that it doesn't work out.
Fact of life. Sometimes chemistry's not there, right?
Exactly. And it may be a multitude of factors. It just wasn't a good mix. It could be behavioral issues of the children. Keeping in mind that, our program at Family Service is a specialized foster care program. So these children are coming out of homes and having a history of, a great deal of trauma history.
Yeah.
So they're coming out of homes with some pretty horrific stories behind them. And
the foster parents know that going in.
They absolutely do. Yeah, it's full disclosure, very transparent. You get as much information as we have on the children before we place them in your home. But if it doesn't work out, we do the best. The first thing we do is we don't give up right away.
Right.
We don't throw in the towel right away, and we try to put in additional services and supports and see what we can do to maintain the placement. And if that's not possible, then we look to another foster home that may be a better match.
So let's say you've gone through the vetting process. you've been matched with a child, and all that, and so you're on the right path. Once it begins and the child is placed in the foster home, what kind of additional services are available for the family or maybe the child to kind of help the process along, make it smoother? Because it's not simply just match them up and then go on your merry way.
Right.
There's more to it than that.
Oh no, we have our main supports in the family are our family case manager that visits with the family at a minimum of 1 time a week. So they're in the home meeting with the families to see what needs they need and to see what supports they need. Then we have our clinicians who work primarily with the children to help them through their the issues that they're coming with and help them through that. And then we also have psychiatric staff. We have psychiatrists. We work with a lot of outside agencies other than ours to put in additional supports as needed. For instance, with older children, we might work with an agency named Foster Forward, who is works with the older children to start teaching them life skills and how to set up a bank account and all those things. So we work with those agencies as well. And I think that the special thing about for Family Service is that we are the lead agency for a new child welfare network. Of course, it's not really that new, but it's about a couple of years old now, the Ocean State Network for Children and Families, and where we partner with a dozen or more other agencies to provide what's called wraparound services.
Oh, that's great. You have access to networks to help a family or the child out for specific needs that might come into play.
Because every child that comes in has different needs, and so we try to do the best we can to provide support around those needs.
We're going to take a break and come back. I want you to give out the website for people to go and learn more.
Sure, it's FamilyServiceRI.org.
What's on the website for people to see?
On the website, if you go to the foster care link, on the website is a link on there in which you can fill out an inquiry form. So it's simply answering a few questions, and then that comes directly to me. So if you want, there's no obligation. It's just saying I would like more information.
Right. You can be anonymous at that point, right, for the most part.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, I would like your name so I know who I'm talking to.
John Doe.
There's also some articles. There's also a video on there with one of our seasoned foster parents talking about her experience as a foster parent. And there's also an article on there, an interview we did with another foster parent of ours who adopted an infant about a year
Oh, good. Testimonials are always
Testimonials,
good.
yes.
That's good stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Greg Wright, Program Manager for the Treatment Foster Care Program and Children's Services. We will take a break and come back. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Stay right there. Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guest today is Greg Wright. He's the Program Manager for Treatment Foster Care Program and Children's Services. We learned a lot. We've got a lot to get to as well. By the way, what's the day-to-day duties and responsibilities for the Program Manager? What does that consist of?
Oh boy, let's see. Well, I am responsible for all the screening, all the licensing process of all the families. So any of the applicants, anybody that has an inquiry for being a foster parent, that all comes through me. So I meet with the families, initially, see if they're a good fit from day one, and so that's part of it, a lot of the administrative, all the paperwork that's involved.
When you're a nonprofit, you wear a lot, of hats, don't you?
Yes.
How big's your staff?
We all do. Right now, we have a small staff. Now, we have myself, we have our clinical administrator, and then we have our family case manager and our clinical manager at the moment.
Are you on the road a lot?
Not really. No. I mean, I get out in the community as much as possible to, different fairs and events to highlight the need for foster parents.
You're also the de facto PR person because you're on the show today.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes, we do a lot of PR for the agency.
As much as you can get the word out as possible, right?
Yeah, and that's and our best word of mouth actually is current foster parents.
We were talking about those testimonials that were on the website. You do have some good success stories, and do some of them come back and speak on some of the good experiences that they've had?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have at least two or three families right now that are constantly saying, "What can I do to help? What can I do?
Give back in a way.
What can I do?" We have a couple of parents that are not in our program anymore, so to speak, because they've done foster care, they've adopted their children, and they don't have any more room.
Right.
But they're still willing to help us out, and they come to our meetings. They talk about, they'll do interviews, TV, radio, newspapers, anything they can do to help us out. And really, that's our best PR for for current foster parents, because they can speak to it. They've lived it. They've been there, done that, bought the T-shirt.
Right.
I have not bought the T-shirt.
Right.
I can talk about it. I've been doing it for almost 14 years, but I haven't actually been in the trenches like they have.
You might be doing more good by getting that many more families together with foster kids. That if you were just doing it on your own, you would do one or or two or whatever. But you are moving as many as possible into good homes for a period of time.
We're certainly trying.
Here's one problem, and this is inherent. When a foster family decides that they want to foster, they usually want to start out with the younger child, maybe as young as possible. And you have teens that are available, and they're tougher to place with families, aren't they?
They absolutely are. And most of my inquiries are for people that want to do want to take in the younger children, and that's great.
Right.
We don't turn anybody away, but we have such a desperate need for the homes to take in the teenagers, because they just remain in the system, they remain in their group homes, and then, once they become 18, they're going to age out.
Right.
And
what happens at that point?
Well, between DCYF, our network, and our agency, and working with all the partners, we kind of try to get in front of that. So we try to set them up with schooling, post college education with a job, things like that.
Right.
We just when you're 18 and you're in foster care, you just don't get tossed out on the street. That's not what happens.
Yeah, right.
And in a lot of cases, when the teens are in foster care and they're in a home, I would say 99.9% of the time the family keeps them.
Yeah.
Even past their 18th
You
birthday.
can't flip a switch on your emotions and to say, well, you turned 18. It's all over.
Right. Yeah. You gotta
I'll
move
stop
out now, right.
being
No,
fond
no,
of you. Yeah.
No, most of these children, if not all of them, they're a part of the family now.
Right.
And,
At the beginning of the show, you talked about how the agency has been around for 100 years and it has evolved. And I would imagine, I'll have you tell me how it has evolved, but I would imagine one of the more obvious ways is just more programs that are available that you can glean and grab from to utilize for the appropriate needs of the individual. But in other ways, how has it evolved?
Yeah, you're right. And back in the early 1900s, 20s, 30s, during the Depression, there was families needed. They needed different things.
Right.
They did different things. And over the years, the agency has been able to recognize the different needs of families. So the needs today and the services we're providing today are not necessarily the same that we were providing in 1950.
Right.
Because people change, times change, and so you need to be out in front of that and provide families with the services that they need.
Some of them, as families, might be considering fostering, their financial concerns might be, like you said earlier, taking care of themselves. They do have to meet a certain financial criteria, but things like health care, very expensive, and they need to realize that health care is not there. The state will supply some health care, right?
Any child in state care, whether it be foster care or otherwise, they're all their health needs, all their health insurance is taken care of by the state.
So that it doesn't. So your foster child doesn't have to be on your health
No,
insurance.
no,
right?
no. They're not. That's yeah. No.
And then there are other things like clothing stipends.
Clothing, we provide clothing allowances 3 times a year for the children.
Good for like back to school time and
Yeah,
things
and,
like that.
and that's exactly what we do. We issue them in August for back to school. We issue them in December, so Christmas time, and winter, settling in, getting settled into winter, and then in April for spring and summer clothing.
Now, aside from going to the website and just listening to things like this on the show, you actually give people who might be interested more of a hands-on opportunity to learn more by open houses that you have. You do one like once a month?
We do. Every month we do an open house at our office at Family Service, and people can just, there's a time, usually between 5 and 6:30, 7 o'clock. Any time during there, you just drop in, and you can meet with me. Sometimes we even have some of our foster parents there, which they can talk to them directly, and just get a whole bunch of information, you know, to see if it's a good fit for you.
What kind of questions do people ask? Common questions.
Common questions are, you know, the children, what is the population we serve? And the answer to that would be we serve all ages, but our program is specialized, so children are coming in with, you know, a history of
Right.
abuse and neglect, and in most cases, very severe abuse and neglect. So, so they, you know, they ask questions about, you know, what behaviors can I expect from the children, things like that. You know, what's expected of me, you know, but and I basically tell them, you know, you're a parent to this child, so just like your own children, you're going to be taking them to the doctors, you're going to be helping them out with their educational needs, you know, things like that. So those are pretty common questions.
How about alternative lifestyle families? Are they able to foster?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
We have several same-sex families right now, and we're going to be actually promoting that even more.
Just to kind of get the word out.
Yeah, yeah, because we, you know. It's a resource. I don't think that a lot of people don't know that, you know, we're, as they say, open and affirming.
Right.
And so we have a lot of same-sex couples that have children now. We have one couple that they have a couple of children in their home now. They might be adopting them, might be taking 2 more on.
Yeah,
you know,
and that was going to be my next question. Oh, well, first of all, that,
Yeah.
as far as same-sex stuff, that
Yeah.
would come out in the vetting process anyway. You would see what kind of household and family
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
everything anyway.
With any family, we do what's right after I meet with them. Then they go to we have what's called an initial home assessment, and our family case manager will come out and
You have to see the environment that
have
they'll
to see
be
the
in.
whole home, see
Right.
the environment they're in. You know, we check for things, you know, smoke detectors, safety issues, you know, things like that. Yeah.
And you had just mentioned sometimes a foster family might go for a second child. They probably start out with one, but it
Yes.
certainly isn't limited to one.
No,
right?
not at all.
If they
Not at
have the
all.
financial means to be able to
Not at
support
all.
more than one.
In most cases, we place one child in a home to
Right,
start.
right.
You know,
And if all goes
doesn't-
smoothly,
and if
right.
all goes smoothly, we don't you know, overburden the family right away. This is all new to everybody. You know, this is new to the family doing foster care, and it's a different beast than being a parent. You know, foster parent is different. There are all sorts of rules and regulations. You know, so and you're taking a child that you don't know into your home. So we start with one child, and then we'll see how that goes. But in some cases, when we have siblings, you know, brother,
That's a good
sister,
point,
whatever,
yeah.
then
Right.
we'll put 2.
Do you
in a
try
home.
not to separate?
We
if
try
possible?
not to.
Okay.
We do our best not to separate siblings.
How do you think you stand? Are you backlogged? I mean, is there way more children in foster not in foster care that need to be as far as like a backlog? Is there a waiting list basically?
Yeah, we have. The bottom line is we have more children waiting than
Right.
we have foster homes to put them in.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you think you compare to other states around you, Connecticut, Massachusetts, out of curiosity, as far as the numbers go?
It's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Rhode Island being a small state, I
Yeah.
would imagine, is that a hindrance as far as the availability of homes that kids could
It
go
is.
in?
It is. But then again, the numbers are all relative too. You know.
Right.
You know, because it's a small state. You know. you know, at any given time, at last I checked, there was approximately 1,800 kids in foster care in the state of Rhode Island.
Wow.
You know, for a state this small, that's a lot. And then you have to figure there are even more, you know, maybe several hundred that need foster homes.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Let's take one more break and come right back. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Stay with us. So that is our show for today. Greg Wright, you want to give out the website one more time for people?
Yes, FamilyServiceRI.org.
If they have any questions, is that the best place for them to go?
Yeah, just go right to the website. There's a link there that will either direct you to our inquiry form, which you can fill out, or there's a link also with for my email, and that's the phone number on there. You can call me.
If anyone has any misgivings or concerns, how can you alleviate those concerns if they're considering maybe?
Yeah, I mean, there are those misconceptions out there about foster care.
There are indeed.
You know, you get some movies out there that don't put foster care in a great light.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, if you talk to any of our foster families or any foster families that you know, any families that do foster care, they'll tell you the rewards outweigh any of the you know.
Greg Wright, the program director or manager for the Treatment Foster Care Program and Children's Services, part of Family Service of Rhode Island. Learned a lot today. Pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us for another edition of For the Record. You can see this show and many others on our YouTube site. Until next time, take care.